Today, we're gonna go ahead and walk through how to properly balance the Ronin stabilizer using a Sony FS5 with a 14mm lens on it. Let's get started. The very first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna wanna unfold your Ronin tuning stand. The first step to assembling the Ronin is gonna be to take the top handle grip and we're gonna place it like so on the tuning stand. Next thing you wanna do is you want to take these side handle grips and place them on either side of the top handle grip bars. Now we're going to take our gimbal assembly and we're going to place it under the top handle grip with the logo facing outwards. Next up, we're going to take our Ronin smart battery here and we're going to attach it to the back of the assembly like so. And you're just going to lock it on down. And you want to tighten down these wheels so your battery doesn't go anywhere. And you're good to go. Now, it's on to balancing the actual camera. But before doing so, you want to make sure that your base plate is securely fastened to the bottom of your camera at an appropriate position. Before moving any further with the balancing process, you want to make sure that your camera is exactly how it's going to be positioned on the Ronin during production. What this means is that your lens cap is off if you're gonna have an external microphone attached to the camera while on the Ronin, or if you're gonna have an LCD monitor placed on the handles, whatever wires are gonna be hanging, all of that needs to be fastened down and tightened or taken off before you start balancing. You're gonna have 4 different steps of balancing here. Your first step is gonna be to balance the camera itself and its base plate on this top mount right here with the push lock, and you're just gonna balance it forwards and backwards. Your second step is gonna be your tilt axis right here, controlled by this motor. Your third step is gonna be your roll axis, which is gonna be this guy right here, controlled by this back motor. And then your final step is gonna be to balance the pan axis, which is this entire assembly right here, controlled by the top motor. All right, moving along here, we're gonna go ahead and start balancing the camera itself. As I said before, your first step is going to be to balance that base plate on that top mount. And you're just going to want to find a decent balance to where it's not leaning too far forwards or too far backwards. That looks okay, so we're going to go ahead and tighten it down. And you tighten it down with this side latch right here. Since that seems like a decent balance to begin with, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the next process of balancing, which is going to be the tilt axis. Don't worry about fine-tuning or perfecting any of the balances at first, because you're going to go back through a second time and a third time to further perfect each balance. Moving forward, we're going to move on to the tilt axis here, which is controlled by these side latches here. You want to make sure that both of them are marked up so they're properly aligned, whether that's using the middle of the latch, the top of the latch, doesn't matter. Just make sure that they're both at the same markings on each side. So what you're shooting for here on the tilt axis is you want to make sure that at any position that you place your camera, tilting forwards or backwards, that the camera does not move. You want it to be, if I let go, the camera should stay right there. But it doesn't, so you know that you need to go back through and rebalance it. Wherever you tilt your camera after balancing your tilt axis, your camera should stay exactly like that if you let go. Your roll axis. So your roll axis is going to be controlled by these bottom 2 levers here and moving your camera side to side. Now the same rules apply to the roll axis as they did for the tilt axis. Wherever you pivot your camera and let go, the entire assembly should stay exactly how it is. So to adjust the roll axis, you're gonna loosen the fasteners on the bottom and you're gonna position it side to side until you find a semi-perfect balance. Now that we've completed the roll axis, it should stay exactly where it should be. In any position. We're gonna move on to the pan axis. To adjust the pan axis, you're going to unlatch these red latches on the side and you use the silver levers to position it forwards or backwards. And what you're trying to achieve here is by moving the top handle grip at an angle, this assembly right here should stay exactly where it is, side to side. You lock it down, ooh yeah. And you're gonna move on and go back through every axis 1 more time or 2 more times until your Ronin is perfectly balanced in all of its axes. So you're gonna power on the Ronin by holding down the power button at the top of your Ronin smart battery. Once your Ronin is turned on and it's working its magic, you're gonna go ahead and open up the DJI Assistant app, found anywhere from your Apple Store to your local Google Play Store. This is what your app will look like when you open it up. Enter the motor tab, right? And then you're gonna hit auto-tune stability. What you're shooting for here is by free balancing it, you want to get the power reading on the side here next to your pan, tilt, and roll. That should be as close to 0 as possible, right? Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect, but after auto-tuning it through the app, those readings should be as close to 0 as possible. And you wanna stay under 10. After auto-tuning your Ronin through the DJI Assistant app, your Ronin should now be balanced, calibrated, and ready to go, and ready to use for production. As you can see, we are good to go. Looking good. Happy filming.